Hello, good evening, everybody. Hope you're well. Welcome to 8 Till Late. I am running a little bit behind schedule, so what I would dearly like to do is go and make a cup of tea before we start. So, apologies for the slight delay. If you could give me just 5 more minutes of your time, then we will get the live stream underway. I'll see you in a little bit. Hello, everybody. Good evening and a very warm welcome to 8 Till Late live on youtube.com/Wi-Fi sheep with me, Tom. Apologies for the slightly late start. As I said, I needed a cup of tea. I've got my Star Wars mug. There we are. So that's tonight's mug. I just needed tea. I thought I can't do this. I can't do a live stream without a cup of tea. So yeah. So apologies for that. Anyway, how are you doing? Great to have your company once again. A little bit to get through tonight. By the way, if you're tuning in expecting me to be doing the ZX81, I know I said I would, but we're not going to do it tonight. We'll do it next week, I promise. Just got a few other things I need to talk about and show you this evening. We'll say hello in the chat to Michael and also Martin that joins us. And Michael is asking, how are the chickens? They're okay. We've had a lot of rain in the past few weeks, so the poor things have been a little bit sodden. And, you know, I've been able to give them extra TLC. But I'm pleased to say they're doing all right. Laying lots of eggs because we're coming into the very early spring now. So we're getting, it's like 24 to 48 eggs in a week out of 11 hens, which isn't bad going. So obviously I'm being quite popular. And of course, you know, we're coming into the Easter season, which of course, you know, if you're a egg retailer, then obviously that's a bit of a bonus. So yeah, they're doing all right. It's quite nice sort of go in the morning and just sort of, first thing you do, you get up, say hello to the dog, get your boots on, bottom of the garden and go and let the chickens out, check everyone's all right, spend a few moments down the bottom of the garden with them, then come back to the house, feed the dog, walk the dog, etc. It's just nice to have that routine. And of course I go in to see them before around dusk time when they're going to roost, which normally becomes a bit of a problem when we get later into spring and summer, because as the nights get longer and lighter, the chickens start roosting around the time that I usually start live streaming. So it becomes a bit of a, you know, that's why, if you remember when we first started this season 2 of 8 till late, I was up to 20 minutes late because I was out having to put all the chickens and the poultry away before I got here, and they were wanting to roost around 8 o'clock. So it's like, ugh, that doesn't work. But yeah, no, they're doing all right, thanks. We'll say hello to everyone else shortly, but before I forget, let's just have a quick look at this. Do you have a need for reliable and cost-effective web hosting for your blog, business or personal website? If so, then look no further than Cheap Host UK. Cheap Host UK's basic plan starts from only 58 pence per month. That's £6.99 a year. And if you're needing a little bit more, Cheap Host UK's premium packages start from £1.41 per month or £16.99 a year, complete with a free .co.uk domain. New customers can also take advantage of an extra 10% discount when purchasing any first-time hosting package or domain name from Cheap Host UK. Use discount code SHEEP, that's SHEEP, to get an extra 10% off. For reliable, cost-effective web hosting and domains, look no further than Cheap Host UK. Full details and an affiliate link are in the description to this video. Indeed, so do go and check out our sponsors, Cheap Host UK. Details and links are in the description to this video or live stream. I actually, you know, thinking about it, I need to reshoot that video because it was done a little while ago, and I've obviously changed my glasses in the past sort of week. Yeah, which no one has commented on, so I'm assuming, you know, I don't know. Basically, when the glasses I had before, the ones you're used to seeing me with, I'd had those for about 10 years and I hadn't got the prescription updated, which is a bit bad. But can I just say we have had a pandemic, so it's like, you know, time ticks on a little bit. Anyway, so I get a new prescription. This was the other week, and I bought 3 pairs because you get like a deal now. So, you know, you get a third pair for free. So I bought a pair that are very similar to my old pair. So they look pretty much the same. I bought a pair of prescription sunglasses because I don't actually have a prescription sunglasses pair. Saying that, I'm not actually that, when I take my glasses off, I'm not that blind. I can still see all right. I'm allowed to drive without glasses, but the sunglasses I did have were not prescription. So, yeah. So I basically got prescription sunglasses. And then I had the option for like a third free pair. And I thought, shall I try something a little bit different? Originally, I was going to try like very sort of rounded specs, but it didn't suit. So I was never keen on the thicker frames, but sort of looking for other pairs and thinking, no. And then I sort of saw these, which are a little bit different. And I was like, okay, let's try that. But not entirely sure myself, actually, but I'm sort of wearing them. I've worn them for a week now at work, and yeah. So we'll see. But like I was saying, too Harry Potterish. I don't know. Are they? I don't know. As I said, these are the third free pair, so I do have another pair that looks very similar to my old ones. So, oh, the round ones. Yeah. So I thought you meant these. No, the round ones. Yeah, it didn't really work. I don't know why. I can't tell you. Maybe I just have too much of a fat face, but it didn't work for whatever reason. So I don't know. We'll see. But I am thinking some of the pre-record stuff, like the Cheap Host UK ad, I may need to re-record, because I mean I look younger in that recording than I do now. It wasn't made that long ago either, which is the worrying thing. But yeah, I've just gone grey in the meantime. Oh, these look fine. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Yeah. No one said. I mean, no one has said anything negative, which is good. But I don't know. I think for me, I looked at them and I was like, just looking at yourself in the mirror and you're thinking, I'm not sure, but I think it was just because it was a change from the kind of the pair I had for the past decade, But as I said, I do have another new pair that is almost identical to what I had before. So, if I lose confidence with these, I can always switch back, if you know what I mean. But anyway, that's enough for glasses talk. Yeah, a couple of things I want to get through. Do you know what? Let's just do this now. Because, yeah. So, for those of you, you're going to have to bear with me on this. This is one of these extremely quirky, almost eccentric news stories that basically is, again, a very British story. And also, you kind of have to be a rail enthusiast to even understand what's been going on today. But I'm going to share it with you because I assure you, nobody's talking about this, right, online at all. We're certainly not on YouTube as yet. But let me just show you this. So this is Twitter, or X. And this is the Senfield Shark. And there's rest in peace tributes to the Senfield Shark. Now, to explain what this exactly is, here's a picture of it. Okay, a shark is kind of like a caboose. It's known as a brake van. It's a railway car or wagon. It does exactly the same job as a caboose car would. Basically, it acts as a guard braking van. And there's certain types in the UK. Basically, most British ones are iron cast chassis with basically a wooden plank shed sitting on top, which is what that is. Yeah, so basically the Shenfield Shark is an abandoned wagon that's been sitting at Shenfield railway station, which is kind of north of London. I've never been, but it's sitting adjacent to the main line in the station. Ever since this particular vehicle apparently generated a fault in 1988 or something and got dumped in this siding, where it has been ever since. And basically there's a tribute feed to it because it's being dismantled. So you've actually got this post. And apparently people locally and commuters heading to London are very, very are very attached to their shark. So you've got 17 minutes ago people posting their memories and photographs of it. So yeah, I know, but I just I laugh, but I get it. If it's something that, if you're a rail enthusiast, it's been an iconic part of your commute, or even some people saying it's their childhood from 30 years ago, seeing the shark. So there's a whole tribute feed of photographs of the Shenfield Shark. So, yeah. Actually, just because I can, I'll just show the overhead, right? I dug out, this is actually my model version. This is a kit I built about almost 20 years ago of an actual shark ballast plough. And the reason they're called sharks is mainly because they have these ploughs underneath, which are kind of like shark shaped. So that's how it got the nickname Shark. And yeah, so I just thought, you know what, we'll cover that because it's something fun. Actually, we had a similar van dumped here in Shrewsbury for many years. It was here for a good 25 years, and again in Sidings, not far from the station here, which everyone grew quite attached to. It's gone now, but it was saved. So unlike the Senfield Shark that's gone for scrap, our brake van was saved, and it's still in the county in private hands now. And ours was a BR Standard, which looks more like this, and it was this colour, bauxite brown as well. This is a BR Standard brake van or caboose, so it's quite a different design to the Shark. But yeah, anyway, there you go. So yes, there you are, my tribute to rest in peace, the Senfield Shark. And yeah, oh well. Okay, hopefully you're still with me. I know, to anyone outside or just watching in on that going, what on earth are you talking about? I appreciate how utterly eccentric that segment was, but I just thought, why not? We've got to. That, by the way, will get recompiled. That's going up on channel 2. So it's 2.wifisheep.co.uk, Wi-Fi Sheep channel 2, where I kind of put all the oddities. That's one of the oddities we'll put up there. Anyway, right, let's do some computery stuff before I lose everybody. What should we do? Right, something I want to show you that I've just bought. This came in the other day. Hang on, let me just move the trains out of the way. Okay. So, something I bought the other day is this Olimex or Olimex. And this actually came off the Pi Hut. Now, to stress, not sponsored. Bought with my own money for a very particular reason. I am in no way sponsored. I do not financially benefit in any way, shape or form from showing you this. I'm showing you this because it's something I bought because it's something I want to do a development project with. If we go back to web browser and let's just take a look here at Pi Hut. Again, not sponsored, available from other places, just where I bought mine. We go to, so you've got Raspberry Pi and you've got Maker Store. And if we go to development boards, and you'll see they've got a few, I think it's Olimax or Olimex, sorry. And they've got, you know, several different types of development board. And Olimex also do the Neo 6502, so they do a 6502 based development board in a very similar form factor. And they even do that, and I will say it wrong, but Argon or Aragon Lite Z80 basic computer, which people argue is a competitor to Tiny Basic and Project Rio, which I suppose it sort of is, but the difference is I'm not selling anything. Let's just see if I can find what I'm looking for. Oh well, that's the one I bought. So here it is. So this is the Olimex ESP32 single board computer. So, and yeah, I paid about £19. With shipping came to about £23. So it certainly didn't break the bank. Excuse me while I slurp tea at the same time. And basically, I'll show you what's inside. So here is the board itself. And you get some standoffs. Rubber feet as well. I haven't actually taken the tape off this, so let's just have a look. Okay, so this is the Olimex ESP32 single board computer Fab GL version. I've just bring it up to camera to show you. So ESP32 module, including the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi aerial. We've got a VGA video out, we've got an audio headphone out, and we've got PS2 keyboard and mouse. We've got an LCD header, we've got battery for real-time clock connector, the UART is via USB-C, and that's also doubles up as a power. We've got micro SD card slot. We've got a GPIO interface here. We've got GPIO here, and we've also got a buzzer on board. And as the back of the board's quite plain, so it's quite a simple two-sided board. Now, this board is actually a clone or a reference design board from the FabGL library. Now, you might remember a couple of weeks ago, we took a look at these, which essentially is almost exactly the same thing. It does pretty much the same thing. It's ESP32 powered. It has all the same connectors. It does the same thing. So this was the TT Go, and this is the ESP32 FabGL. Now, both of these, as I said, they run a reference design. They both use the same library called FabGL, which is a library for ESP32 that you actually compile using the Arduino IDE. So these basically act as giant Arduino boards. The advantage of these boards, and why I've gone for this slightly larger form factor, is I'm looking into possible alternatives of running a terminal program to replace the Raspberry Pi boards that we have been using with Project Rio, because I got a lot of flack for using Raspberry Pi. In my head at the time, it made perfect sense, but FabGL basically has this fantastic library. I should have got the web page ready. Let's see if I can find it. Just bear with me. Talk about being ready for things. Let's just do a quick search. FabGL ESP32. Yeah, so there's the GitHub. So it's all free and open source, and yeah, this is the FabGL library, and it includes a number of things, including graphic user interfaces, sound engine, and this one, ANSI BT terminal, game emulation engines. So if you might remember last time we ran, oh actually this is the homebrew, or their version of it, from the developer. But yeah, basically just going through how it works. So I will be doing a more detailed video on this, but basically what I'm thinking is use this library as a replacement, and this board rather, for a replacement for the Raspberry Pi units, which means we are then completely free of the Raspberry Pi ecosystem, and it should be possible to, Project Rio would convert over relatively easily. I don't think it'd be too much difficult to do. But then I'm thinking, because basically I have a version of the Tiny Basic 4-color that runs on ESP32, it's not a stretch to actually have the entire Project Rio, or a future Project Rio, potentially running completely self-contained on that board. So you wouldn't need any other hardware as such. You would still need a power supply, and unless you're going to use PSD, you would still need some sort of keyboard interface decoder. But I am beginning to think that these might make perfect candidate boards for the future of the project, especially if I'm not going down the hardware kit road, which I know I said I was thinking about, and I've ummed and ahed about it, and I've really got off the idea again, thinking it might be better off being more of a sort of software-based product. So that's kind of where I'm at and what I'm thinking of at the moment. Interested on your thoughts. It's still early days of development, so we will for now carry on exactly where we are with Project Rio. But it should actually be possible that if you've got the Project Rio build, the build is actually just here. If I can get it down. Here it is. So if you've been building Project Rio, you've basically got something that looks a bit like that at the moment. So it's completely possible that basically you just unpin those, because like the Pi, this runs on 3.3 volt TTL logic, so you can't run 5 volt. But as a serial terminal, if the serial terminal was uploaded correctly onto this, there's your GPIO pins. So it's quite simple. to be able to take those off this Pi and substitute it for this. And then you're completely free of the Pi altogether, and it should still operate. Project Rio would need some adjustment, because it would be sending the wrong escape codes rather, but it would work. And as I said, Project Rio has the ability, you can actually manually send escape codes separately if you're using a non-Raspberry Pi terminal. But as I said, it's possible we could maybe in the future jump and leave the Arduino altogether and jump clean onto ESP32. And I reckon at the moment the ESP32 build of Tiny Basic for Color runs with 32k of RAM for basic, and I reckon with this board you might be able to get up to 128k from the kind of 8k we've been using, or rather 6k available to basic on the mega boards. Oh, I am so pleased I went for that cup of tea before we start. So it's possible, but it does mean we're leaving the 8-bit architecture because this is a 32-bit architecture board. But, you know, it might make a better system. I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm thinking at the moment. But as I said, for now, because it's still early days and I am just literally thinking out loud, I bought this board to play with. So we will be doing some videos on that shortly. Bought this board to play with, and yeah, we'll see where that goes. But as I said, the next video we do will be more work on this current setup. Also possibly switching from a Pi 1 here over to maybe a Pi 3 or something. Or the Pi 0, because more reliable. We've had issues, we've had issue with these original Pis. I only went with the original Pis because at the time you couldn't get hold of Pis, but there's plenty of these knocking around cheaply. And also I do like the fact these have the composite. So it's nice to have a choice in HDMI or analog composite. That's the only snag of going with this standard, is we're then pretty much stuck with VGA out, which yes, I know you can adapt, but I kind of like the HDMI and composite option, which the Pi gives you. Also, you lose USB keyboard capabilities, returning basically to PS2 as a standard. You can, for example, I've got the adapter, which I do have, so you can obviously adapt. Where's the keyboard? There we go. Oh god, that's a bit stiff. There we are. Right. You can obviously adapt to USB, but bearing in mind that this doesn't do anything electronically. It just basically changes the shape of the port. So you still need a keyboard that, even though it's a USB keyboard, has PS2 protocol. And as many of you have found out, that's not easy to know these days. The only way you can guarantee that a keyboard actually is PS2 compatible is if it's got a PS2 plug on the end, basically. It's what I've been saying to everybody. So yeah, swings and roundabouts, but I've got possible ideas and solutions to work around things. But that's kind of where we are at the moment. And yeah, I'll keep you updated with how we get on with this board, which I've now got to put everything away. This is where you'd have a jump cut. Oh, by the way, talking about chickens again, I am comprehending the idea, especially if we get to the spring, slightly better weather. I am comprehending the idea of perhaps some sort of permanent chicken cam. I don't know, possibly. Again, could be ESP32 driven, as those ESP32 boards are more than powerful of actually driving video, believe it or not. So it's a possibility. Let's just pop that out of the way. Okay. Right. Hang on. Get me in. There we are. I'm in vision. Right. So, the other night, Thursday this week, just gone, and we did it Thursday because Wednesday was Valentine's. Thursday, we had Harper-NET, which is my Raspberry Pi Jam replacement event happening at work. That's Harper Adams University. And it's a gathering for computer and electronics and robotics enthusiasts. The week just gone was the first one that was open to the public. So as well as staff, students and invited guests, we also had unsolicited members of the public were able to attend, and all of it was free. So you didn't have to pay to attend or anything like that. So we had a great time actually. So here is the poster. By the way, that link does still work. So facebook.com/Harper-NET for the next event, which should be happening next month if you're interested. And I just thought I'd share with you a couple of pictures. So we weren't, there were more. It looks a bit empty. We weren't crowded, put it that way. But this was some pictures from the event. This is happening in the, this is the Mechatronics Electronics Lab at work. So this is where we, workbenches and students learn to build robots and electronic control systems. So it's a great room for having this kind of thing in. And you can see the PC desktops on the back of the benches, and then at the front of the bench you can see these Meetup seeds that were donated from the Stafford Recipe Jam, which unfortunately has now closed. So I've adopted these. I've had 4 units that we run basically as kind of mess around computers that are free for anyone to have a play with. That's a view sort of from the front to the back of the room again. So it's not a huge room, but you can, fit a good 20 odd people in there. That's the outside of the building. So that was taken while I was waiting as car park steward to make sure everyone got to the correct car park. So that is the engineering, well, one of the 2 engineering blocks that we have at Harper Adams. That's the most northerly building on the campus, because we have a north campus and a south campus sort of bridged across the main road. And on the sort of left of this picture, across the other road, is the cattle sheds. So there's this wonderful sort of manure smell, and you can hear the cattle. So that, yeah, because Harper Adams University is a working farm. It's an agricultural university, and it's a working farm. But this is the building basically where I work, and where various bits of teaching and engineering happen. So it's very, very lucky we've got this venue actually to have our event in. And here is one of the Meetup seeds. Now you might remember when I did the review of the banana pie M4 berry and M40, I think it was. Well, basically M4 berry, which was in the form factor of a Raspberry Pi 3, did fit inside a Meetup seed. So what I've done is I've switched out the Pi 3 and I put in here a M4 berry, banana pie, sorry, M4 berry, and I've just sort of let people play with that and see what they think. And yeah, so it went along as well. This was a sponsored thing. I wasn't sponsored to do this. I just thought, well, I've got the board, let's do something with it. So that's what that's doing. And I also took, you might remember this from last week here on the stream, I took along the prototype breadboardy version of Tiny Basic. This was version 5 technically, so this was the original Tiny Basic interpreter, but it was running with Project Rio's the original Tiny Basic terminal, video terminal, but it was running with Project Rio's Tiny Basic 5 effectively. So I took that rig along. You saw it last week. We played with it last week. You remember it was all jittery. It was still jittery actually. It's still kind of, it looks all right on that screen, but it was jittery. And I had to go through the same upscaler that I used. So basically you can see the composite out, or RCA composite out, PAL, and we're converting to HDMI, and we're just going into one of the PC monitors. So obviously the keyboard and mouse there are rendered useless, and I've got my own keyboard there on the front. So it was really just to show people. So we did a little bit of sort of training and teaching unofficially with a couple of actually colleagues, not necessarily students, but colleagues who were interested in the Arduino boards, and they brought along an Arduino to play with. So we did a little bit of sort of, basics of Arduino. And I brought this along to kind of show what you could do with an Arduino if you kind of push them into being basically self-contained computers. So that was that. Yeah, okay. So that was the end of that little thing. So yeah, we will be back with that next time. It's a monthly meeting, so I haven't got the date tied down for that, but we will be doing one in March. This will be running all the way until June, which is the end of the academic year, at which point it's possible we might be moving to a more central Telford, Shropshire location. So we wouldn't be on the university campus anymore. We may be moving, so it'll still be a university endorsed event, but we may be moving to a new site where we'd restart again after the summer. So we'd be probably October, November time we'd restart. So but I said we're running up until, well, plan to run up until June this year. So if you do want to join us, if you can join us, then do feel free. I am looking into the possibility of doing some sort of live stream. It's tricky because I'm so busy running this and getting it all set up, and of course I've done a full day's work and then I'm running this. So for example, I didn't leave campus until 9 o'clock at night. So it's quite tiring. So we'll see. But if we do expand, then I'll definitely look into what we can do going forward. But the details of that, facebook.com/Harper-NET. Right, a little bit of channel news, just some things to update you on. So first thing is next week, I intend that to be the last in the current series of 8 till 8 live streams. The reason being is next month, which will be March 2024, I'm actually quite busy. So as well as Harper-NET, I've got a few other things going on. I've got some away stuff to do for work, and I will be going away myself to visit family. So there's not going to be an awful lot of time left. And I did hint that, you know, after 22 episodes, we've only missed like 3 weeks, I was going to take a break. It is literally just a break. I do fully intend to be back with you. So I just need a little bit of time to do some other things, and we'll see where we be. It might be kind of end of the summer. We might come back again. We'll see. Or I may be doing it more on an ad hoc basis until we'll come back fully weekly. This works better in the winter months is what I'm going to say. So I'll let you know sort of what's happening. But just to say, next week, where I fully intend to do ZX81, that will be the final in the series. Then we're going to take a break for a little while. But obviously, I'm still carrying on with project work and stuff on Wi-Fi Sheep. And that's not to say I wouldn't be live with other things throughout the summer. So just a heads up on that. The second thing I just wanted to share with you, again, don't normally go there with this, but it just annoyed me enough that I thought I'd share it and call it out. So, I can find it. Okay, so this comment appeared yesterday, and I haven't responded, and you won't find it because I have actually deleted it now. From William Payne, who I don't know and I don't think is a subscriber. Well, you can read it for yourself. So this was on my review of the Banana Pi M40, which was the smaller version of the M4 Berry that I've just been discussing with you. So it was a sponsored video, but I don't understand what on earth you're going on about, sir. So Ubuntu Debian and RPI OS not working. Okay. Video poster, I'm assuming that means me, changing download instructions. I took JPEGs. I don't even understand what on earth you're saying in that statement. Video poster, so I'm assuming you mean me? I don't, or do you mean poster as in thumbnail? I have no idea what you're going on about. And this is what I get a little bit fed up about, is people kind of posting things when they can't get stuff to work, when I have no idea what, I mean, I'm not here for tech support for you. I don't know what on earth you've done or not done. For all I know, you could have, licked the damn SD card, for all I know what you've done. This sort of idea of men accusing me of things. I fed up of people posting with no evidence, no brain from the looks of it, accusing me of things. Video poster, if he assumes the person who posted the video, as in me, changing download instructions, I don't know what on earth you're going on about. I have no idea. You took JPEGs of what? And do I want to know? Probably not. So it's just stuff like this really rags me off. And I get this an awful, awful lot. So it's not particularly abusive, or I mean, I have abusive stuff, but it's just sort of, what do you want me... First of all, would you like to construct a sentence? Because that is broken English at best. What on earth are you going on about? I have no idea. If it doesn't work for you, I'm sorry, but take it up with the manufacturer, not with me. The process that I showed in that video works, or worked. If Banana Pie have changed things, because I don't check with them regularly, because obviously we've done the contract for now, so I'm on with other stuff. If they've changed things on the website, then they've changed things, and they're fully entitled to change things. It's their website, it's their product. I just did things as they worked at that time. So, you know. Martin just saying, do I not recommend licking the SD cards? No, you go for it. Oh, what was it? Was it those Nintendo Switch cards? You know, the little data memory cards that from Nintendo Switch that apparently they had like a bitter coating on them or something to stop or deter children from swallowing them. So something like that, wasn't it? It was a while ago when the Switch came out. Anyway, yeah. So I just posted that because I've deleted the comment, but I have no idea what on earth that refers to. And most people, if they comment, you know, are curious or interested, or what, it just when I get stuff like that, it just really rags me off. So I'm calling it out. There you go. So I hope if I'm showing this, I'm not the only one who doesn't have a clue what that refers to. It's like no information in that at all. So I thought I'm not even responding. Well, I haven't responded in text. I'm responding here to you now, publicly. But what on earth is that about? Anyway. Rant over. Rant over. Motorbike outside. Right. So, what should we do next? A couple of things I do want to do. Just move stuff out of the way. Right. So the other day at work, something landed on my... Hang on, what's that? Michael saying, definitely need more information. I mean, look, just going on about that again, just very quickly. Basically, I'm all for helping people. Honestly, I am. And you get these people saying, oh, I'm sort of almost apologising for commenting to you. Or sort of, there's no need to apologise. It's like, you know, they go, oh, I'm really sorry, or... You know, if you have a moment, like, could I ask this, or can I? And it's like, it's fine. You can ask. Honestly, you can ask questions. And I've always said you don't have to agree with me on things. It's fine. You know, we're all. I see us all as equal, intelligent people. Okay, we're all interested in this hobby. I've said this numerous times. I'm not. There's no sort of hierarchy type thing here. You know. It's fine, but when I get stuff like that, where it's just the half rant, half broken English, what on earth are you trying to ask me? Trying to like say I've changed things, or just don't start accusing me of things, because that really eases me off, and then you get blocked and called out, basically. So you know, if someone had come back and said, I don't quite understand how this works, or this seems different now to what you've got there, then fair enough. And as I've said, Banana Pie, I haven't checked actually, but Banana Pie could well have changed the upload, the way it works on the website. Companies redesign things. It happens, you know. I've shown some old stuff with Raspberry Pi from a few years ago. And of course their website has changed dramatically. Oh, excuse me. I've drunk that tea too quick. Yeah, so their website's changed dramatically, and you know, half the stuff I've talked about on this channel sort of 5 years ago obviously is now no longer relevant. Saying that, most of the stuff I talk about now is no longer relevant, but that's besides the point. You know what I mean. Anyway, right, so we'll leave that there. Yeah, I don't like ranting about it, but you know, just annoying me. Anyway, right, so I was at work the other day, and something got passed onto my desk that I just want to share with you now because I think this is rather cool. So I got shown or given this to play with. It's called an Edison. I don't know if you've ever seen these. Let me just show you on the other camera. Okay, so this is an Edison, robotics for everyone. Make a note of this barcode. And if I open it up, it kind of unfolds. And then inside the very end is this, which is a tiny Lego compatible. It's not a Lego product, but it is, you can clearly see, Lego compatible robot, which I actually thought was really quite cool. I kind of liked it. Now, the reason I've been showing this is because the university is planning to do some outreach STEM next year, which is something I'm probably going to be heavily involved with. And they'll be outreaching and providing robotics courses or sort of fun days for school-age children. It's part of a sort of supplying education content for the local county, but it's also about sort of giving a taster session for potential students that might want to come to the university to study this kind of full-time. So I was given this, an Edison, and asked to sort of go away and make something happen with it, or find out information about it before the university put a bulk order in for these units. I'm just seeing if I've got a screwdriver to hand. I have. So I'm going to need to dig some batteries out in a minute. So it needs four AAA batteries. Have I got any AAA batteries? I might have to go scurry around, but let's just have a look inside. Let's just get this open. There we go. And inside, little bag. So basically your batteries go in there. Yeah. Little bag. And this, which was extremely interesting. So it's an audio, standard audio 3.5mm stereo jack, and this sort of contraption on the other end. And I'm sort of trying to figure this out at the moment. I've not powered this up yet, but I believe this kind of sits in like that. And then that plugs into your headphone socket. Yes, you heard me right. Headphone socket of your computing device. I say computing device, not necessarily desktop computer. Now, intrigued as to quite how this worked, we just hop over to Edge browser again. I had a look on the website, and programming, bear in mind this is all online. They've got EdBlocks, EdScratch, EdPy. If I click EdScratch, and it asks you what version you're running, and you can check that by here. So if I just where are we? Oops. Okay. So you can see here quite clearly version 2.0. So that's fine. So click 2.0. And for those of you that are remotely familiar with Scratch, you remember Scratch, one of the sort of the big code blocking programs from MIT that, though it's been around before the Raspberry Pi, it came shipped with the original 2011-2012 Raspberry Pi. And basically, you can build a program in browser for the little robot. It's also got some demos. So let's load in a demo because I'm very lazy. Let's do test program. Okay, so here's a test program. And when you want to upload, you plug that headphone jack into the headphone socket of your computer, and it then plays the code is then played basically as a sound file, very similar to how ZX81 cassette tapes worked. It sounds almost the same as well, and I was like, there's no way this works. But if I try, and you won't be able to see this, but I'm running on the X1 UE22 X1 PC machine, which does have a headphone socket, so just bear with me a moment. So if I just try and bring my camera over, yeah, there's a lighting rig in the way, but basically that's your headphone jack there. So if I just try and plug my headphone in. Okay, so headphone in, yep. And that's there. Now, before we can go any further, I do need to go and grab some batteries. Yeah, so what I thought we might do is I'll go get some batteries from somewhere, go and have a tea break, and then we'll come back and we'll program this. So I'm sorry to leave you in limbo. If you just give me a moment, we'll come right back. Okay, we're back. So what I found is I found some there we are. AAA batteries, posh ones. So we'll put those in the buggy. Andrew's saying it sounds like the screen from a digital modem. Yes, it does rather. I know I said from sort of tape, 80s 8-bit tape machine, but yeah. So yeah, let's just put these batteries in quick. So we're connected up, as you can see. Let's bring the camera around. Oh, by the way, this is completely irrelevant, but the reason I'm back so quick. There we are. There we are. Look what I found in the fridge. So I bought a glass, so I thought I won't just drink it out of the bottle. We'll have some standards, he says. If you are a recovering alcoholic, I do apologise. And watch as I knock the bottle over. Yeah, I didn't pour that terribly well. Anyway, right, where are we? Okay. So that's how to open a pack of batteries. I was going to have a cup of tea, and then, there's a bottle of Guinness in the fridge, and I'm like, I'm going to have to stout. Which means I'll be talking even less sense than normal within an hour. You wait, because I don't drink an awful lot. Okay. So let's see how these go in, which is, it's actually marked here. See that? I don't know if you can make that out on the plastic, but it's actually got the plus and minus. So we'll go minus, plus, minus, plus. Okay, so they're in like that. I have no idea if this has ever been powered up or used. Is that the power switch on the... What's the power switch for this? Okay, assume that might be in there then. Oh, I heard something. Ah, okay. Ah, no, stop. Bad robot. Okay. Right, so let's go back to Edge browser. Okay, so we're plugged in and we hit Program Edison. Oh, hang on, do I need to... wait a minute. Right. Volume to maximum. Okay. I need to press record on the unit itself. So if we go there. Okay, so I need to press record itself, which is, I assume, is the round button. So I go record. Okay. So that's now waiting. Now, if we go back, program, I assume it's doing something. I've never done this before. It is playing a hang on. Right. Roll. Okay. Make sure we're actually going out the right port for starters. Okay. and we hit program. So it is showing it's playing a sound. Okay, that's now stopped playing the sound. Oops. Okay. So the flashing now is stopped and it's now gone to, so if I now go play, okay. Let's just stop that a moment. Let's take that out. That might help. Okay, the behaviour has now changed. So I think we know that has worked. Nice if it sort of told you it was finished, or this beeps or something to say it had finished. But okay, play again. Okay, you sort of. Seems to be all right. Sort of struggling to. Oh, off the table. Off the table again. Go on, stay on camera. No, no, go back. There we are. Got a bit of a lemming complex. No, no, no. Okay, that doesn't like hitting the beer glass, unfortunately. Interesting. So it's clearly being able to sense. I wonder if that's how it's sensing. Let's just have a. Let's go back to play again. Yeah, it's that top set. So it's this top sensor here. If I just let it spin. And that's how it's identifying what it's doing, so we can stop. So yeah, so it's on a repeat cycle. Beep, turn right LED on, off, spin, beep, spin, and it's repeating. So yeah, so we've got a few other demos. Let's have a look. What else can we do? Move with music, clap control driving. I should tell you what we will look at, because I'm curious as to how this works. So if we go back to programming, what was the blocks? Oh, the blocks is an even simpler way of programming. There was a barcode way. It says. So we've got the Scratch way, and we've also got Python. So that gives you more of a sort of, let's have a look at that quick. So this actually gives you a web, it's all web-based, it's all free, it's all web-based IDE. And you can actually start coding this in Python. You can actually check your code. And I'm assuming, yeah, it converts the Python into some sort of audio binary data, and that's then transmitted in the same way. I really do like the way that works, actually. So you don't need drivers. It's not a USB protocol. You've got key components you can search on the side. So yeah, I think this has got some mileage in it. I do like this. I'm normally not a fan of this kind of stuff, but when I was sort of, my boss gave me this and said, right, make something of this. I'm like, okay. Oh, there we are. Barcodes. That's what I want. So it has a way of barcodes, and that comes back to what's on the packaging here. So if we just go back to the camera here, camera 2. So there is this barcode you can see. Very simple barcode. And I think how this works is if I just hit record, and does that work? Interesting. Let's just have you died a death. Right, back on. Record. Not sure how that works. That's still got the same coding as last time. I don't know what this barcode does, if it does anything actually. Interesting. Yeah, anyway, so a bit more investigation needed. You're meant to be able to swipe this barcodes, and yeah, hang on. How on earth does that work? Right, hang on. Let's read the instructions. That's a good idea. Right. Okay. Place the Edison facing. Place Edison facing the barcode on the right side. Okay. Press the record button 3 times. Okay. I hope everyone's following this. Right. No idea. Need to play with that a bit more. Anyway, so point I'm trying to make is very interesting. Need to get the Lego out so we can build something on top, but it does have huge flexible possibilities actually. And yeah, I think these would be great fun to play with and teach the basics of electronics and computing. And I particularly like the Scratch approach, which I think would work really well. I mean, it's nice we could do Python, but I do like the Scratch approach. When you did, I think it drives forward and reads. Oh, right. Thank you, Martin. I knew that. He says lying. Okay, right. No. Okay. Try that one more. Ah! I did something. Nice one, Martin. I think I like the old program, but that's interesting. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Thank you for that. Yeah, so I kind of like that. I don't know why I like that. I just do. I think that's kind of cool. So definitely we could do. I'm not so sure that would work if you're paying, $9.5 grand a year for a degree. I think you'd be a little bit miffed if that's what you give. Saying that, I don't know. Some of our students might be about their level. I shouldn't say that. But I think for STEM based stuff, just turn that off. For STEM based stuff, for potentially colleges, especially schools, entry schools, and we're going to be doing more of this kind of outreach stuff next year. I think this is going to work really well. And I did say, actually, I played this just for 5 minutes at work when it was passed on my desk. And I was a bit like, well, I say play that. I didn't power it up, but I looked at the documentation online. I really like how this works. So assuming you could actually program this either by barcode or even using the app on your phone. You just need to generate a signal. So you've got a phone with a headphone jack, for example. Yeah, so we'll see where we go with that, but I just thought that was a bit of fun and rather interesting. I have a feeling, yes, I have a feeling I've wandered over here. There we go. I was all comfy over here as well. I just move the camera. There we go. Should I put the rest of my beer in the bottle? To be honest with you, I don't know how much I've drunk. If I've drunk any alcohol this year, I know it's going to sound weird, but not that I've ever had any kind of problem with alcohol. But I've never drunk it really, never in huge quantities. So yeah, I just haven't had time, or you go into bed late, getting up very early. I need to drive in the mornings, so you just don't have time to have a drink. So and I said this beer has been in the fridge for some time. I just thought, oh, there's a beer. I fancy a beer tonight. So yeah. So, but yeah, it's a cool little thing. That it's one thing I like about work is they do give you quite a lot of cool stuff to play with. And thank you, Martin, for your help with that. This is a great thing about this live stream, though, which is why I do want to continue with them. I know I need to take a break. So I'll just figure out how this goes away now. I do need to take a break because, as I said, I am extremely busy next month. And I'm just wondering if it's even worth coming back in the summer. If there's demand, I will. But I'm also thinking about the model train project I've got going on. And I spent enough money on that. I bought lots of bits. And I kind of need to kind of put the bits into some sort of project. So I'm like, well, what's my weekends going to be like? You know, I've got other things going on, a lot of work going on. And I was thinking, Saturday evening, Saturday nights, if I'm not working outside, or haven't got, you know, big computer job or something on, you know, model train building. And I thought, well, if that's the case, would it be better off we'll just live stream from the attic, from the workshop upstairs, which I've very rarely been up there with the channel. I have been up there in the past. So we did a video for Christmas a few years ago where we did Raspberry Pi powered, Raspberry Pi controlled digital trains, which was a video done a good few years ago with a Sprog DCC system, which in the end wasn't actually that great and was extremely complicated. And I've moved on from that since. But everything upstairs, it's actually, well, it's 00 or HO gauge model trains. It's digital controlled still, so it's now controlled by a pickaxe or pick based microcontroller system. But basically, I've said before, I'm building this new model layout. There's a full train layout up there, but I'm building a new secondary layout, which I want to go back out to public exhibition with. So it's one of the projects I want to do. So we've got all sorts of things like wiring, 3D printing, design, command control, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, I'm kind of tempted. We could take the MacBook upstairs, well, I say upstairs, in the loft here, and we could, you know, live stream, live layout building, model trains and layout building on a Saturday night, possibly. Whether I do it here or over on channel 2 is another matter. It might fit better to live stream over on channel 2. So if you haven't already subscribed to channel 2, it might be an idea. It's 2.wifishi.co.uk. I think it's in the, it might be in the comments to this video. Comments, you can tell I've had a drink. It might be in the description to this video. It should be. But yeah, so that's something to think about. But yeah, I've got a few things going on, a few computer projects. As I said, want to play around with this board, see what we can do with it. Definitely got a new Project Rio video coming up, because I know those of you, especially Martin, I know has been building Project Rio, and I think a few of you have as well. So we'll be doing an update on that shortly as well. I'm trying to think what else. There's something else I want to maybe look at in a moment, which time, yeah, we might look at that shortly. I'm still doing component recovery, by the way. So I'll just show you on camera 2. So I've still got more of these boards showing up. And I nabbed this one the other day as well. That was the one we were working on. That was the machine drilled one from the other week. But basically for these, what I really want to do is I just want to try and do component recovery of these cable things, because, you know, possibly take the power regulator off as well. Just because, yeah, I keep finding these in the bin. And I'm like, these connectors cost money. You know, not so much the pin header, but these screw connectors cost money. And I'm thinking, I'll have those. So the plan is I'll take those off and then we'll scrap the boards. They'll go back to work for scrapping. I'm not sort of taking works junk home with me. But, you know, if these are literally come out the bin. So if they're out the bin, then I'll have them. These, I think I mentioned before, these are the project boards that our 4th year, these are our final undergraduate year students are using. and they're building robot challenge buggies. So this is the PCB that sits on a remote control car chassis. And we've got summer camp for college or school age children happening on the campus over the summer when the students, or undergrads, finish. We need robot buggies. So what I've suggested is, as well as our own fleet of robot buggies that we actually have on campus, we could utilise the buggies that have been built by the students. Because what happens is they build them for the challenge as part of their degree, and then afterwards they're kind of put in store, and then basically I scrap them, recover the chassis, and then the chassis get reused with brand new printed circuit boards every year. But what I was thinking this year is they would eventually go for scrap again, but we could actually utilise them or standardise the design, because they all use this PCB basically. We could standardise the design, use the buggies after the students are finished. We could use them for the summer school kids or students, and then basically I would then scrap them before the beginning of the next academic year, which would be around September, October time. So more component recovery for me. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Let's get a second use out of some of these buggies before they go straight to scrap, if you know what I mean. Or basically, my entire parts bins here at Wi-Fi Sheet basically just be filling up with parts out the bins from university. As you well know, I've been, I do stress I'm not stealing things from my employer. If they're in the bin, they're in the bin, and at that point it's, I'll take them if they're in the bin and they're for use to me. It's no one has the time to go around desoldering that, which is the issue. So yeah, so I was going to do a little bit of that if we had time. Actually, I've just noticed I've even got the I'll just show you that. You can see that they've got the Harper-Adams University Engineering Department on the silk screen there. So 2021, you can see where they've come from. But yeah. And this one's got mechatronics breakout board. I've got the uni name on it. That one hasn't got the uni name on it, but some of the boards do. So we do have our own proprietary stuff, you see. So these basically have come from China as blank PC. Well, I say blank PCBs. They're designed, but they've been made in China and then they've been populated by our students. But we do our own boards at work. So yeah, interesting. It's just time, isn't it? So one of the things I was thinking of doing, I don't think we're going to have time. I was going to do some component recovery tonight, but yeah, it's probably not tonight. It does need to be done, because I know watching me do component recovery is rivetingly exciting. So right, how are we doing? Oh, we've still got some people hanging on. Thank you so much if you are hanging on this evening. Okay, so I think one of the final things I want to do. One of the final things I want to do is I just want to show BPI again. Now, if you remember, we did this. Was it 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago. Was it 3 weeks? Something like that. So let me just hang on, because I'm gonna record this. So yeah, I know. As you know, because of limited time now, half the stuff I do with 8 till 8 ends up being videos for the main channel. So the one you've just seen on the ZX81 that's gone live on the channel now was taken from this live stream 2 weeks ago. I'm full of gas now. Excuse me. Oh dear. Yeah, just guzzle beer. Guzzle beer, do video. Yeah, why not? Oh, by the way, before I forget, at the end of last week, I talked a little bit about radio and what I used to do in radio and how this channel started as a radio podcast live stream type thing. So it's called the Wi-Fi Sheet Radio Show, and it was on YouTube for Patreon backers. So if you are a Patreon or channel members backer, if you go into the members playlist, which is the exclusive playlist, and go all the way back to the bottom of that playlist, you'll find there the original InVision radio episodes that were the original content of the channel. So they're not in the public domain, but they are available if you are a channel member or backer. Which actually reminds me, I completely forgot to do that today. So before I forget, there we all are. There are Patreon and YouTube channel members. Thanks for nobody prompting me on that, but there we all are. So these are the fantastic people that so generously support me on Patreon or as a YouTube channel member. If you want to join on Patreon, you can. It's patreon.com/Wi-Fi Sheep, or alternatively, YouTube channel members, and base support starts from 99 pence all the way up to £2.99 for mid support, and those prices are converted into your local currency, or if it can't be converted, you'll see them in US dollars. And of course, prices may vary depending on the exchange rate. Anyway, yeah, so the point I was trying to make is I'm still seriously contemplating the idea of doing a new radio podcast type format. And I know we talked about the idea of possibly broadcasting part of this live stream as part of an international live radio broadcast using the shortwave frequencies. If you're not familiar with shortwave, it's a analog AM frequencies that basically span half the globe, if you like. So one transmitter in one country can be picked up on the other side of the world just for a domestic aerial and battery powered radio set, if you've got one that can pick up the shortwave bands. AM, by the way, if you've got like an FM AM radio, AM is normally just a medium wave. So you've got the short wave, the medium wave, and then the long wave. And I have been contemplating doing an international analog radio show, because you can buy capacity and it's not too expensive. You think it'd sound really expensive, but it isn't. It isn't actually too expensive to book time on international transmission, or basically rent a transmitter. We're talking huge towers, radio towers out in. There's one in Germany and a few in the United States that you can actually rent on. And I was seriously contemplating doing a radio version of this channel to promote this channel, but also kind of allowing us to do things that don't quite work in video format. Now, to be fair, this live stream rarely works in a video format, but it also doesn't quite work in sound only, I don't think. And I think I need something a little bit more structured, because I know Martin last week suggested we could just broadcast the first half hour, because it would only be half hour, because it does start running into hundreds of dollars quite quickly to rent radio capacity, which I am actually prepared to do. I think it would be very interesting to do it as a project, but I'm going to need to try and figure out the funding model, because that's going to get expensive quite quickly, and it would drain the Wi-Fi sheet budget, which isn't huge. It would drain it quite quick. So, but I think I need to make something else that's not just a repeat of the normal videos that I share, but also I think needs to be a little bit more together than this live stream, which even by my own standards is a bit all over the place, because we can't stop for tea breaks every 2 seconds, or me kind of like pausing to think about what I'm doing. But saying that, I do have some ideas, and I'm kind of really excited about the project, which is another reason why I need a little bit of time off from doing this live stream, so I can actually work on the content for a potential radio show. I'm thinking more a kind of documentary type format. Just if we don't have pictures, as such, you can do an awful lot just in an audio radio format, which I'm quite excited about. So I'd like to kind of add that dimension back to the channel, considering we started as a radio show before we kind of went down this road. So I'd like to sort of do this as well as all the other content that I do here on the channel. And so the idea would be that it would be probably a new Patreon or YouTube members tier, which would give you access to a series probably on YouTube in an audio format, and it would kind of, you get it sort of on demand, crystal clear, and possibly extended edits longer than it would be broadcast. And then it would also then be free live on analog shortwave radio across the globe. Not everyone would be able to pick it up, but a lot of people would be able to pick the show up. But it would be in a kind of condensed 30-minute package format, advertising the channel and encouraging people to come and subscribe to youtube.com/Wi-Fi sheep, but also become a patron on this new tier, which I'm thinking probably about $5 in price. There'd kind of be a new tier I think would be needed. So if you are above that, so you'd get it as for free. Well, not for free, but you get it as part of your current tier. So if you are a Project Rio backer, you would get the show as well. If you're under that, so if you're like general downloads or just like the $1 entry stuff, but it would need an upgrade, but you'd be supporting the show and you get this whole series basically and extended edits. So I've got a few ideas about some topics I'd like to talk about. I'd like to sort of do a new introduction for new people to this studio space. This is kind of where I think I'd make the show. And I'm also thinking, do you remember those of you that joined me for the exclusive live stream? We did a version of 8 till 8 which was only available for Patreon and YouTube channel members. So many of you will probably already know about that because you were there when we did it on New Year's Eve. Was it Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve we did it? I can't remember, but we did it around the Christmas holiday period. And I mentioned that I was working on a film, a Wi-Fi sheep film. And I still am, but I then got a job working at the university. So unfortunately that kind of got a bit pushed back. But I have got some amazing content there. And I was thinking that one thing I could do in the interim would be to re-edit that as a radio sound only documentary. And I think it would work quite well. So I still want to do the film. It's a documentary film basically about video game arcades on the Welsh coast. So it's a very much a sort of local. I mean, we're not coastal here, we're landlocked, but the nearest coast is a place called Borth, which is on the Welsh coast. So you leave England, you go across the Cambrian Mountains to the coast of Wales, which is then the Irish Sea. So it's the bit between I'm going to bring a map up in a minute, but it's the bit between Ireland and UK for Wales, the Welsh Sea, the Irish Sea, Welsh coast. And I went there and I actually a couple of visits, and I did a number of video recordings as well as some sound recording. And I did a recording with a local chap I met who used to work in the arcades, and he gave me some very interesting insight. And as well as sort of visiting the places and all the sounds of the seaside or the coastal village of Borth where this was set, I also wanted to kind of look at in more detail at the technology and those arcade games, and even look at some of the domestic versions of them, so things like the C64 versions of some of these arcade games that were present in Borth. So that was the premise of the film. I still want to make the film, but it's just delayed, unfortunately. So I thought, well, might it be a good idea to take the premise and make an audio documentary version that could be one of the episodes of this new radio series that I want to make. So that's kind of the thinking at the moment. I said I've said too much really, but that's what I'm planning. But it does need a funding model that works. It might be, and I hate to say I'm going to do this, but it might be I need to look at some kind of crowdfunding setup. Not a huge amount of money, just a couple of $100s, but that's not necessarily to make. I can make the series regardless. That's not a problem. It doesn't. I mean, the Wi-Fi sheet budget would cover making the series. That's not the issue. The problem is renting the airtime, which although isn't expensive, but there's two broadcasters I'm looking at, one in Europe, in Germany, and one in the United States that rent airtime. and you're looking about $1 a minute in cost. So an episode at half an hour would be $30 to broadcast. So you think about that. If I made like 4 or 5 episodes, you're getting into a couple $100 per run of the series, and I'd want to rerun that again. So we start to get it starts to add up. So I'm umming and ahhing about possibly trying to do a sort of a Kickstarter or crowdfunder. The series will be made, by the way, it'll be done. But then if there's a way of sort of generating a bit of revenue so it can actually get broadcast. And it will also be available to Patreon and channel members, as I said, on the correct tier via YouTube. And I'm also thinking about making it available to affiliates. So community independent FM, AM radio stations. Because I come from a radio broadcast background. And maybe many people don't know that, but I actually did quite a bit of community radio when I was a little bit younger, and that's kind of why Wi-Fi Sheep started as a radio service originally. But my plan is to actually make the show available, and it probably in its 30-minute format might be available for free to affiliate radio stations that want to take it on board. If they want the longer versions, I might charge them as well. But basically the hope is that enough people would subscribe to the YouTube channel and enough people would then join the Patreon tier that it would become a self-funding thing that would fund for these series to be repeated again on air / make it affordable to then make a second radio series. So that's kind of the model I'm going for. We'll see if that works. It's a very interesting project. As I said, I can certainly make radio versions of what I want to do. A Wi-Fi Sheep radio series is completely doable without funding. That's not a problem. It's just if I want to try and get that broadcast, it's a bit of a stretch. I mean, it's doable, but it's a bit of a stretch to come out my own pocket directly. So I'll have to see what the budget is, because if I take the budget off the channel, which isn't a huge budget, if I take the budget off the YouTube channel to then fund the radio show, then that limits what we can do here. So I am actually very frugal with the money. So a lot of the stuff is either second hand or take, as you've seen with the PCBs that I've just dumped down here. A lot of stuff is literally coming out the bin. Yeah, or it's sponsored stuff. So there's possibilities, but I'll keep you posted. I'm not 100% comfortable with like begging for money from Kickstarters. I've never done a Kickstarter, or not directly. I've been involved. I've been paid to make content for other people's Kickstarters. But I've never like ran one myself. So I don't know. I'm always a bit worried. At least I'm not trying to do a tangible product, if you know what I mean. And at least when I would go to ask people for funding, at least I wouldn't do it until I'd actually made the series. So it would be there, ready, done. It just would need the money for broadcast. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Plus the fact it would put hopefully some interesting content on shortwave. Because I don't know if you're like me, if you are an avid shortwave listener, it's very hard to find anything remotely interesting. It's mostly religious programming or what I would call foreign government propaganda, which sometimes is laughable. Some of it is like, really? Or it's certain internet people who got banned from social media platforms, so the only place they can actually get their message out is in the early hours on US rented time on shortwave. So because they're not allowed on any of the mainstream social media platforms. So you do find some interesting stuff out there. I do plan to do on Channel 2, by the way, a video about shortwave and what they call DXing, which is the hobby of trying to pick up international and obscure radio broadcasts. Not just radio, but television as well, but mainly radio broadcasts from around the world, kind of from where you're situated. So I want to do this video where just with a portable battery-powered shortwave radio and just a bit of aerial cables strung along the garden, which is basically my rig, to sort of use that with the power of the internet to see what I can pick up and do like a full day's like documentary of recording bits of shortwave radio from various bits of the world, to see what we can actually pick up and listen to throughout the course of a day. So that's an idea for a project I'd like to do for Channel 2. And one of the reasons I set up Channel 2 was to do these kind of slightly off-core things that might not sit quite properly here on the main channel. So anyway, that's that. Have I spoken enough? I think I have. You can watch me drink beer. Right, anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, we were cleaning up. Ugh, you can tell I'm a lightweight. I can feel I've had a drink despite the fact I've just had the one, but I'm just like, no, that's me done. That's another reason why I never drive if I've had a drink at all, even though there's a certain legal limit of you can have, but because I'll admit it, I'm such a lightweight when it comes to drinking alcohol that I can't risk it, because I think 1 pint of beer would probably put me over the limit, in all honesty. So yeah, I have this rule that if I'm going to drive, I can't drink at all, and I don't drink at all if I'm going to drive. So just because I know what I'm like, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I've nearly lost everyone ranting about that. Oh well, never mind. Right, shall we do this last bit then? And then I think I want to call it a night. So let's quickly now, let's just tidy up before we do this. So yeah, quick reminder then, just to repeat, next week will be the last in the series of this current series of 8 till late. But I will be back and I'll keep you up to date, and we may be doing some special live streams either here or over on Wi-Fi Ship Channel 2 throughout the summer as well. I probably will be back late summer. Excuse me. I can't do this if I've had a beer. That's the problem. Anyway, no, we're just gonna do another video now, looking at the Atari BPI setup. So, what's Martin saying? I'm not into radio, but I bought a USB SDR thing. Oh really? How interesting. What was that then? I'm trying to be into it. I am a member of a Salop Radio Club. I've mentioned it before because I won. Where is it? You remember? About a year ago now. Where are we? I actually won the novice category at SARS, which is a bit unfortunate, but Salop Amateur Radio Society, and I took my Tiny Basic build down there and actually won a competition at the radio club. And it's also why I have these 3D printed mats. So M6 IDT is actually my licensed call sign. I do actually have an amateur radio license, so I am allowed to broadcast certain frequencies, certain power ratios, and that is actually my call sign. Admittedly, I've never really used it at all. I'm more of an interested in listening when I am broadcasting. Well, when I say broadcasting, I'm not interested as much as sort of broadcasting like CB radio, like one-to-one communication. It's not that interesting. I'm interested in making programming, so radio shows or programming, and then broadcasting that on a licensed transmitter to the masses. That's more interesting than the kind of personal one-to-one type communication radio. But yeah, so hence why you need to buy space on licensed broadcasters for that to work. But yeah, it's an interesting curiosity, especially shortwave. It's like the dark web of the radio world. And it's also something that works without needing the internet. So it's a way of getting data and communications across the world without the use of telecommunications, which I find fascinating. So definitely something we'll be looking at. I'm actually thinking I might even do a little trip down to Wooferton, which is South Shropshire. So I'm in Central Shropshire. South Shropshire on the border is a huge radio broadcasting place. It used to be owned by the BBC, called Wooferton, and it actually broadcasts. I'm trying to think, does it even do any BBC? I think it used to do BBC shortwave, but I think it's actually now used by Japanese state broadcasters, and also the French state broadcaster uses it. But you can get a really strong signal because it's it's broadcasting to the world, and it's literally the bottom of this county, and there's Wooferton Cycling Centre. So I thought we might go down there, try not to get arrested. I'm not going to trespass, but will I be allowed to take video and photographs of it? I don't know, even from public space, no idea. But my plan is go down to the south of the county, have a look at Wooferton, and that might form the basis of a video about shortwave, which I think would be really interesting to do. So, yeah, but it's interesting that you've had a look at it as well, Martin. USB SDR, yeah, I'll have to look into that. But you can do stuff. You can actually listen to shortwave. There's websites you can go to, and you can actually tune an online radio and listen to live shortwave radio from Europe, which is kind of interesting. So, yeah, it's all stuff we're going to do, but I think it's very much a Channel 2 topic, if you know what I mean. It's probably not going to fit perfectly here on the main Wi-Fi sheet. Anyway, right, shall we try and do this before I decide to fall asleep? Okay. Oh dear. I knew having alcohol was a bad idea. Gonna need a cup of tea now just to soak that up. New glasses are filthy. There we go, something like that. Right. Bear in mind, this is about to be a video. Let's start again. Okay, so just bear in mind, this is a video that's going to probably go out as a pre-record. So we're just going to do it live because it's timing and it's content for the live stream. But, so you could do feel free to chip in. So next month I'll start again. So next month we are eagerly awaiting the release of the Atari 400 Mini from Retro Games Limited. A kind of successor to the C64 Mini and the C64 Maxi that we have already reviewed here on Wi-Fi Sheep. I personally really looking forward to the 400, and it's literally just under a month away. I'm recording this now here in the sort of end of February 2024, and the release date is about mid-March, so it's only around the corner. And of course we'll have a full review of the 400 Mini when it comes out. However, keeping with the Atari theme, and especially Atari computer theme, one thing I did want to look at was a brilliant project called B-Pi. This gives you the Atari ST or Atari Falcon systems and compatible software on the Raspberry Pi platform. And best of all, it's completely free. Let's take a look. Let's also just tidy up. So to start with, you will need a good candidate board. Now, originally when I tried this, and I did this on our 8 till late live stream, I did do it with a Raspberry Pi 3. However, the original Raspberry Pi 3 was a little bit slow. So if you are going to use Raspberry Pi 3, I'd actually suggest using the Raspberry Pi 3 B or A+. And those should work fine. In fact, I actually have a version which is flashed for the Raspberry Pi 3 or 3B+, actually in this particular board. However, for optimum performance, and BPi does support this, I'd probably recommend realistically using the Raspberry Pi 4B or the Raspberry Pi 400, which in its all-in-one form factor kind of makes more sense. So the BPi project is completely free and it can be found on this website. The address, by the way, will be in the description to this video. It's actually split up into 3 separate projects: BPi, BKey and Easy Mint. We actually are interested in BPi. So if we go to news, and the latest version, which has been released on the 5th of December, do that again, and the latest version that's been released on the, and I do that again, and the latest version that has been released, which was on the 5th of the 2nd, 2024, is here, and we want to click on, I'm going to do that again because I can't. This, by the way, I do this all the time when I'm recording videos, just I don't normally do them live, so bear with me. So the latest version we're interested in, which was actually released on the 14th of January 2024, which at time of recording is this year, is here. It's BPi free. So if we click that, and it actually gives you a screenshot and an introduction to what's new for BPi. So basically this is a brand new version of the Atari operating system, which was built on the GEM operating system using the Motorola 68000 processors. Now, what's really interesting about this is this doesn't try to run natively on the Raspberry Pi. It uses the power of a Raspberry Pi 3 or Raspberry Pi 4 to run an emulation layer, which then gives you a 68000 emulation SAM-based, or sandbox if you like, that it can then run this operating system in a 16-bit mode, which basically means that most of your Atari ST or Atari Falcon software is technically compatible with the Raspberry Pi, using the Raspberry Pi, of course, as a base. Downloads are quite simple, and there's now 2 versions available. There's BPi free for Raspberry Pi 3, which will also work for 3B Plus as well. Or there's also version 3 for Raspberry Pi 4 or 400, which I'm going to use in this video. So we'll click to download. Now you'll notice that you have a series of .7z files, but they're all broken up into subsectors. Don't worry about this. We just want to download everything. So we'll click to download, which is hiding up here. So this is your download button. So we'll click to download. And download is in progress. No need to sign up or log in or anything. And we'll just give that a moment to come down. Which from memory takes forever because this is really slow. I think I'm going to have to let that download and might have to expand on this and do this recording tomorrow rather than live now. But yeah, so we will be doing a video project for BPi. Basically, because people have asked me, how do you actually download it? So I forgot that takes ages to download, but it is well worth looking at if you're interested. Again, I'll put the... Actually, wait, can I put the link in the description? Hang on. Just bear with me. We do have the technology. There you go. So if you are interested, you can go and download a copy for yourself. Again, we're not going to conclude that tonight because it's getting a little bit late. It's coming up to 10 o'clock now, so I think I'm probably going to call it night tonight while this downloads. Conclude this tomorrow, I think. Anyway, there we are. So... yeah, so hopefully you found a few things tonight that have been interesting. I appreciate tonight's been a little bit all over the place. So next week we will take another look at the ZX81. I can't guarantee I'll have any like 3D bodies or cases for it printed. Might do. See what time's like. But what I will try and do is, now we've got the correct cable, I'm going to see if we can actually load some software and test that RAM pack by loading off tape, which will probably be a complete disaster. Thank you, by the way, to Rye, I think it's Templeton, who, or known as a Loud Scots bloke, who's a colleague and associate I know from the retro computer exhibition scene here in the UK. He actually commented on the video that's now gone up on YouTube, stating about the you can get composite video out of a ZX81 quite easily, and I kind of guess I knew that, so it's probably a mod I might think about doing. And also talking about the edge connector. So we've got a few things we need to try and do to get the ZX81, I say working, but you know what I mean, together. And but basically I want to see if we can load software. If we can load software off tape, then we're in good stead to try and get the other bits of that project done. And that's another project that I will probably carry on, because once we come off air next week, I will probably carry on in a kind of pre-recorded format. So we'll carry that updated. And as I said, we will be back live for a third series of 8 till 8. Martin just said, don't forget to send a link to that commenter on the banana. Don't start me on that again. Don't start me on that. That's the tip of the iceberg of the stuff I get. You know. I don't know. I just thought, you know what? I'm getting to that point now where it's like name and shame. I don't like doing that, but I'm just like, you know, if you want to ask me a legitimate question or make a legitimate comment, that's fine. I don't mind. But just when people kind of go down this strange road and say, oh, you've changed things, or you've done this, or you're not, you know, doing that, and I'm thinking, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Seriously. Anyway, I think we've just gone past 10 o'clock, so I think we're going to leave it there for tonight. So, all being well, we will resume next week, where we'll probably be looking mostly at the ZX81 again. And again, as I stressed, see if we can actually load some software. If you haven't done so already, then please do consider liking and subscribing to us here at Wi-Fi Sheet. And wherever you are, I hope to see you again soon, and have a fantastic night. Good night.